What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily. So CES was back in full force this year here in Las Vegas. And like always, we saw all sorts of new, interesting, and weird tech, both big and small. Everything from transparent TVs to concept EVs, and even some stuff that would get this video demonetized. I don't want to frighten you with that, but I do want to show you some of the best tech from CES 2023 and what you can expect to see this year from some of the biggest brands in the tech space. So LG always has one of the most awe-inspiring booths, and this year was no exception. The main entrance to the CES show floor was this tidal wave of curved LG OLED displays that aimed to show off what LG does best, and it's hard to capture just how massive this setup was. LG's main attraction this year was what they called their wireless OLED TV, the LG Signature M3. Now, wireless really means inputless. You still have to plug the TV into the wall for power, but all the audio and video ports are taken off the TV and housed in this separate wireless box. It's an HDMI transmitter box of sorts called Zero Connect. It's capable of streaming 4K content at 120 Hz all over the air, and while it's an interesting idea, it's, in my opinion, no different than, say, AirPlay or just using WebOS apps for streaming content, but we'll see if this sort of setup catches on. The other big wow factor at LG's booth was their updated transparent OLED TV concept, the OLED T. It's an actual two-way see-through OLED panel that displays videos, screensavers, animations, and when you want a regular TV for your Netflix binging, this black material slides on up inside the glass and gives you a more standard TV look. Something like this could definitely be used as a dual-purpose window, a street sign, in homes as a less intrusive space divider, like a two-way fireplace. It actually has quite a few use cases, but chances are it'll be quite some time before it actually is available for purchase. I also had to check out LG's new OLED Flex TV monitor. This isn't new for CES necessarily, it launched in the fall, but I was super impressed to finally see it in person. The Flex is a 42-inch OLED TV/gaming monitor that at the push of a button can transform from a flat display to a curved display and vice versa. It has 20 different levels or degrees of curvature, and honestly it's pretty wild to see an OLED display being essentially bent into a curve in real time. However, it retails for $3,000. So it's much more pricey than most other OLED TVs and monitors, flat or curved, at this size, but if you want the best of both worlds, I guess this is the only option out there. In addition to the big tech stuff, CES has plenty of companies that showcase new products in the mobile tech space, including a handful of new smartphones from the likes of TCL and plenty of great accessories. The kind folks at TORRAS invited me to their booth to check out some awesome products, one of which was particularly useful for the hot, stuffy show floor. Yes, I am glistening in sweat. This is TORRAS's Coolify 2 cooling and heating neck air conditioner. With the press of a button, this thing cools you down instantly via a pair of cooling plates on the neckband itself, and with the help of a constant stream of cool air that blows all around your neck and your face. And it really works well. It's fanless, there's no noise, and you can flip between 3 different speeds, and it'll last hours on a single charge. It is also a heater too, so on a particularly cold day, the Coolify 2 neckband can warm you up in the exact same way. TORRAS, of course, is also known for their phone cases, and they just launched their new UPRO Ostand series for the iPhone 14 line. This combines a super protective case with a sort of O-ring finger holder that also doubles as a phone stand, and it's MagSafe compatible, so it pretty much does it all. As a case, it offers military-grade drop protection with 360-degree coverage, there's a raised lip for the screen, all your corners and edges are covered, and there's an additional bumper/air pocket around the camera module too for some extra protection. Functionally, that metal O-ring around back can be flipped out to use as a finger holder, and this is especially useful for getting a better handle on the larger 14 Plus and Pro Max devices, and the metal ring can also be used to prop your phone up on its side or upright. It doubles as a sturdy little stand. The UPRO Ostand cases are available now. I'll leave a link to them as well as a Coolify 2 neckband in the video description below. TORRAS also gave me a sneak peek at their next generation Ostand cases that allow the metal ring to rotate, which is pretty cool. Be on the lookout for that at some point, and thanks so much to TORRAS for sponsoring this video. TCL had a pretty big CES this year, announcing a ton of stuff from smart glasses to new TVs and 3 new smartphones. The TCL 40 series is made up of the 408, the 40S, and the 40R 5G, and they are all super affordable but pretty specced out devices. The 408, or V48, I guess, is the cheapest of the bunch, starting at $129. It offers a 6.6-inch 720p LCD display, it's powered by the MediaTek Helio G25, and around back rocks a 50-megapixel main lens. The next step up is the 40 SE. This guy is $169, and its main feature is its 90Hz refresh rate screen. It's a bit larger, 6.75-inch device, LCD 720p display as well, Android 13, MediaTek G37, and a triple lens camera setup with a 50-megapixel main shooter and a pretty funky twilight purple colorway. The top phone of the bunch is the 40R 5G. It's the only 5G phone here, and for $219, it also offers a 90Hz 720p LCD screen, a more powerful MediaTek Dimensity 700 processor, and similar triple lens camera setup. These phones will primarily be available in Asia and Europe, but they seem to be priced pretty competitively, especially the 5G capable 40R, which is my favorite of the bunch. Now, TCL also continues to experiment with their Next Paper display, a sort of colorful e-ink screen, which you can get on the just announced TCL Next Paper 12 Pro tablet. This is a 12.2-inch 2K display with a matte, glare-free e-ink panel, but that's still a touchscreen, still pairs with a stylus, and still very colorful. It's really pretty trippy, and it's way easier on the eyes than a regular glass display. Like I said, this tablet has been announced. You'll be able to buy it soon, but next to it, TCL also showed a prototype or demo unit of the same Next Paper e-ink display on a smartphone, which I thought was even cooler. Let me know if this is a screen you'd like to have on your next device. I honestly think I would. While CES is primarily a tech show, automakers of course do like to come show off all sorts of crazy new concepts and how new technology will be integrated within a future driving experience. BMW was on hand to give people rides in their new 7 Series sedan, but what really stole the show was their updated iVision D concept. You guys might remember their color-changing black and white SUV from last year. BMW kicked it up a notch this time with a dedicated concept car that combines now multi-color changing e-ink panels around the car with a heads-up windshield display and a voice. D stands for Digital Emotional Experience. The car will build an avatar around you based on certain information, project that info on the car's windows, and even be your all-in-one virtual assistant. And the car can even make faces. On the outside, the vehicle is covered in 240 e-ink panels that can switch between 32 different colors, and each panel can be controlled individually. It's a pretty cool idea. I'd certainly love to change the color of my car based on how I'm feeling that day, but like most concepts, don't expect D to hit public roads anytime soon, at least not in her current form. Mercedes also brought one of their concept cars to CES. We've seen it before, the Vision EQXX, but this year they actually let us take it out on the road and ride along inside it on the Las Vegas Strip. Keep in mind, this is a one of one, the only road-ready prototype of the EQXX, so seeing it out on the streets, stuck in traffic amongst the Honda Accords and Subaru Outbacks of the world was pretty interesting. Though nowadays, honestly, the EQXX isn't even that radical of a design. The car is intended to be an ultra-efficient EV. It has a ridiculous 0.17 drag coefficient that's achieved not just by its sleek and slopey body lines and active rear aero that sticks out like a dining room table, but also things you wouldn't notice, like a special air channel around the wheel wells to keep the air off that area. And being an efficient EV is really its sole purpose for now. Mercedes says the EQXX achieved 745 miles on a single charge, but with only around 200 horsepower, it's not quite ready to compete in a 0 to 60 race. It does, however, seem to have plenty of screens and luxury features to keep the driver and passengers happy. Again, while the EQXX likely won't be pulling into your driveway anytime soon, at least not in this current form, it was still cool to see it inside and out and actually driving on the city streets. That's more than you can say about most concept cars anyway. Dodge had a pretty huge presence at CES this year. They did bring their controversial all-electric Challenger concept that they debuted at SEMA in the fall, but they also announced the all-new Ram 1500 Revolution. This is also just a concept truck, but Dodge says that something like this could be hitting dealerships in 2024 to compete with the likes of the F-150 Lightning and Silverado EV. Now, there's plenty of fancy over-the-top tech supposedly coming to this truck, like AI-powered voice commands, button-activated cabin modes to limit distractions, and augmented reality heads-up displays, and what they called saloon-style doors. The design of the truck, while certainly still still futuristic, still looks like a Ram, mostly. And as far as the important technical specs, well, no range capabilities or battery capacity was revealed. All Stellantis said was that theoretically the truck could get 100 miles of range with just a 10-minute charge, and it would likely have four-wheel steering. But most of the rest of the tech specs wouldn't be announced until later this year. So it remains to be seen what we'll actually get with Ram's first EV truck, but this at least gives us a broad idea. One of the biggest and more interesting booths in the automotive section at CES this year was TOGG, the up-and-coming Turkish EV manufacturer. TOGG's first vehicle, the C SUV, will launch in Turkey in the first quarter of this year, but for CES, they really wanted to focus on their big picture vision that goes beyond them just being a car company. TOGG aims to blend the digital world with the physical. They want to be a globally competitive technology brand and create an accessible ecosystem around their smart devices, their term for cars, and the digital products that'll pair with them. TOGG's booth was a digital mobility garden where heart and mind, human and technology, art and science, and unity and diversity all met. They had 4 different experiences for folks to enjoy, including Beyond X, a personalized virtual ride that's unique to you with magical and extraterrestrial AI-generated scenery and sounds that sort of demonstrates what could be the future of mobility. And this was really popular. It always had a line of people waiting to try it out. They also outlined the idea behind their TrueMore platform, which seeks to combine blockchain, AI, and Internet of Things all into the driving experience. They had an area dedicated to their clean energy goals and a funky digital twin generator. You put in your preferences and get a fuzzy dancing AI being that digitally is identical to you. TOGG's goals for the years to come go well beyond just making cars, and I'm really interested to see the big leaps they could take in both the EV space and in the tech space as a whole. Vietnam car company Vinfast also had a big presence this year at CES, and since they're supposed to be coming to the US this year, that came as no surprise. They had their entire lineup of vehicles on display, along with some test drive opportunities too. The VF6, VF7, VF8, and VF9 were all available to be touched and toyed with and sat in, with more information about the VF6 and VF7 released, along with an updated VF8 delivery timeline. Supposedly, the first US customers will be getting the keys to their VF8s this month after a holiday delay, and VinFast has even bigger plans for the rest of their lineup in 2024. And while I did get the chance to tour their Vietnam factory last year, as well as indulge in all of Vingroup's luxurious accommodations, now is the time for them to make a name for themselves in the US with these vehicles, and I hope they wind up being successful. Their vehicles as a whole are pretty solid, and I think if they can at least start getting them into customers' driveways, they'll be well on their way to competing here in the US. A couple other vehicles that caught my eye that are actually real. Volkswagen had their new ID Buzz on display, which for us here in the US is a sight to see, since as popular as this thing could be, it still won't hit US roads until 2024 maybe. Dutch solar startup Lightyear also had their solar-powered Lightyear Zero, formerly Lightyear 1, out for all to see, and said that they are already taking reservations for the even more radical Lightyear 2. Now, will any of their solar panel covered cars actually make it into production? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but with a sticker price of some $300,000, these might be a tough sell. The joint venture Sony-Honda Mobility brought out Afeela, a car that has just about as many displays on the outside as it does on the inside, along with a yoke steering wheel, tons of sensors, and the promise of interactive communication between mobility and people. Whatever that means, we won't be seeing it until 2026 at least, and odds are, whatever Sony car actually does come to fruition probably won't look like this one. The most radical of the concept cars, though, was French automaker Peugeot's Inception, an autonomous EV concept that's supposed to give people a taste of the next generation of cars and technology, though I'm not sure that the future looks very comfortable. Whatever Inception ends up being, it certainly takes the cake for the most futuristic concept car for CES 2023. So there you go, that's everything that I thought was cool at CES this year. What do you guys think? Was there anything announced or maybe teased that caught your eye? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.